F1 has now completed 2 out of the 3 days at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin for the United States Grand Prix. Yesterday we had qualifying for the main event. Today we had the sprint qualifying and the sprint race. We're going to talk about them both, give a little bit of a preview for this race tomorrow, because tomorrow's race it'll be a lot more interesting than the sprint, I'll tell you that. The sprint, it had some moments, it had some good battles there. We saw Sainz versus Russell. Sainz was like the only guy on soft tires, so he slid backwards. Hamilton kept within pace of Verstappen for a few laps, but then Verstappen did his thing, pulled away. But we saw a couple battles, but I think tomorrow will be a little bit more, I guess, there will be more racing tomorrow. There will be more passing, because first of all, Max Verstappen starts 6th. Second of all, it's a longer race. There are more strategies. It's going to be a hot day. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff. So yeah, I guess let's just do a quick recap of the sprint. As I said, Max Verstappen won it. Yeah, Max Verstappen won something in 2023. It's not a shock at all. He led every lap of the race. Got challenged by Leclerc there heading into turn 1, but pinched him off, so Leclerc really couldn't take an angle at the turn. And so Verstappen was able to get away, and because of that, Leclerc really compromised his turn 1, and that allowed Hamilton to get around him. So Leclerc ended up having to settle for 3rd, I think. The results won't load on the F1 website yet, but I know for sure Verstappen won, Hamilton 2nd, but I think it was Leclerc who got 3rd. Once that finally loads, I'll get those results to you over here. But yeah, we saw McLaren, both of their guys were up there in the points, but Piastri, he slid backwards in this thing, not like off the track or anything, like he just lost a bunch of positions. George Russell ended up getting a time penalty, speaking of Piastri, for passing Oscar Piastri off the track. That ended up only dropping him to 8th. I think he was 7th on track, or maybe he was 8th on track, but he didn't fall out of the points. So both Mercedes score points, both Red Bull score points. I mean, they've already clinched the Constructors' Championship, but it's big for Perez in terms of fighting for 2nd, but he does lose a couple points to Hamilton. Both Ferrari score points in their quest for 2nd in the championship. But imagine telling someone this back in March, after the Bahrain Grand Prix when McLaren did so horribly. Imagine telling someone that at the US Grand Prix, so 5 races to go if you include tomorrow's race, McLaren would be within single digits of Aston Martin in the constructor standings. That's right. McLaren within single digits of Aston Martin, who was irrelevant today. They've been irrelevant this weekend. Fernando Alonso, who has 7 podiums on the season, qualified 17th for the main event, 13th or 14th for the sprint. Lance Stroll qualified poorly in both. He's had brake issues all weekend. He had to actually retire from the sprint due to the brake issues. They brought some upgrades to the track this weekend that clearly have been awful, safe to say. Aston Martin has fallen off a cliff. McLaren has done the opposite. They have climbed to the top of the cliff and are kings of the world. Well, kings in terms of, compared to where they were kings. But McLaren looking really good. Aston Martin looking really bad. Who's going to be in contention for this thing tomorrow? Well, Charles Leclerc is on pole. Alongside him, I guess we can look at the starting grid here. It's going to be Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton, Sainz, Russell, Verstappen, Gasly, Ocon, Perez, and Piastri. That's your top 10. It'll be interesting to see who leads into turn 1. I feel like whoever starts 2nd, they've gotten the lead the past few races. We saw Verstappen take the lead into turn 1 last year. 2021, Lewis Hamilton took the lead after starting 2nd. Kimi Räikkönen, I think the year he won, 2018, he took the lead starting from 2nd. So starting in 2nd, it's obviously it's always a possibility, being on the front row, taking the lead into 1, but here it seems more likely. But, big opportunity for Lando Norris, still going for that first win, but a big opportunity for Leclerc and Ferrari as well. They've only got 1 win on the season with Sainz at Singapore, but it's a big opportunity for Leclerc to get his first win of the year. And but Max Verstappen, he looked so fast today in the sprint, won it by 8 or 9 seconds. I don't know if they can hold him off. Obviously, if something happens to him into turn 1, but if he's able to hold position or gain positions into turn 1, it's going to be tough to beat him, obviously. But we'll see. We will see. And I told you I'd get those sprint results up. Let's see if they have those ready yet. All right, finally, I finally got something to tell me what the point scores were. Verstappen gets 8 points, Hamilton gets 7, Leclerc 6, Norris gets 5, Perez 4, Sainz gets 3, 2 points for Pierre Gasly, and 1 point for George Russell. So, yeah, big for second in the driver standings as Hamilton once again gains just a little bit on Perez. He gains, what, 3 points on Perez there? He's still, I think, a race behind or more. But if he keeps on chipping away, he's obviously got 5 full races left. And I think there's a sprint race at Brazil again. So he's got a good amount of opportunities. Obviously, Perez, if he wants to keep his seat, he's got to finish second in the driver's standings. That's not like a hard thing, but, you know, there's so many rumors and speculation. And Perez has really performed so poorly the last 2/3 of the season that I think he's just going to have to finish P2 in the driver's standings to get himself a better chance at least. But he's really got to pick it up. He's just been out of form recently, and it's been sad to see, but he's got to get it going. But as for predictions for the US Grand Prix tomorrow, I'm going to go a little chaotic, actually. Hamilton and Verstappen both look really good right now. They look like probably the best two. We know what can happen when those two get together on track when they're racing each other. Monza, Brazil, Silverstone, Brazil again, 2 Brazil instances. Things happen when those two get close to each other on track. It could happen again, so I'm going to go with a chaotic podium. I think Lando Norris gets his first win. I'm telling you, I'm going bold with this thing because why not? I think Leclerc gets second, and I think, what's the starting order here? I guess Carlos Sainz finishes the Ferrari double podium, but yeah, we're going chaotic with the predictions. The realistic prediction would be like Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, but I want chaos. It won't happen, but I want it. So thanks for watching this video. I know, short little video, just a quick Grand Prix preview, I guess. So I talked a little bit about the sprint, talked about qualifying a bit, who's been struggling, who's been good. And yeah, so it should be a good one tomorrow. I'll do that race recap tomorrow. I'll do the NASCAR race recap tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for watching again.